Good morning. I am Kevin Price. Delighted to be with you. Going to spend some time talking to you about you and your business. Got Paul Carroll on the phone. He's a regular on the show and always delighted to have him on the program. He is with Efficient Wealth Management. And by the way, I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving, and I hope you had plenty to be thankful for. And one of the things I am thankful for is great contributors like Paul Carroll. Paul, let's start off by you telling us about the great work there at Efficient Wealth Management. That's efficientwealthmanagement.com. And then introduce us to your guest today.
Well, good morning, Kevin, and thank you for that wonderful introduction. Efficient Wealth Management is a boutique wealth management firm based here in the Woodlands, Texas. And what we do is we've approached wealth management using a consultative approach to help our clients not only protect their wealth, but also to mitigate their taxes, take care of their heirs, protect their assets from being unjustly taken, and to maximize the impact of charitable planning if that's important to them. Today we're introducing Barry Blanton of Blanton Advisors, a gentleman I've worked with in the past. Very interesting story. I think you're going to enjoy this segment.
Awesome. Welcome to the program, Barry. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Give us the elevator speech, if you will.
Good morning, and thank you, Paul and Kevin. Happy to be here this morning. My name is Barry Blanton, and my firm is Blanton Advisors. We are a CFO and business consulting firm here in the Woodlands, Texas. Blanton Advisors can be found at blantonadvisors.com. What we do is provide contract CFO and business consulting services for small and medium-sized businesses who probably don't need and can't afford a full-time CFO, but can benefit from the experience of someone who has worked in larger companies and has a CFO background.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very good. Paul?
So this is an interesting story, Barry. How did you get into the CFO, the contract CFO business?
Well, I actually kind of worked myself out of a job in a past life where I served as a CFO, and during the economic downturn of '08 and '09, our company found it at a position where it really couldn't afford me any longer and didn't necessarily need my full-time services, and they actually became one of my first clients. So based on that concept, I decided that I wanted to work for multiple small businesses and help them succeed with the financial side of their business as opposed to just one.
Talk a little bit about the verticals that you're working in and the size range of those companies.
I'm not necessarily industry specific. I work in a lot of different industries. I have clients in the healthcare business. I have clients in specialty retail. I have a light manufacturing client and some professional services clients. The size from a revenue standpoint can range pretty significantly, but our sweet spot is probably companies that are going through growth stages somewhere between $8 and $25 million a year in revenue. And as you guys know, that's a point where business owners are really struggling to get their arms around business and understand how they're going to control things through those growth periods.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. Paul?
Yeah, actually there's an interesting book by Vern Harnish called Scaling Up, and it talks about the valley of death that occurs at about $10 million in revenues, where the next stage of growth consumes so much cash that a significant number of companies don't make it through that. Have you heard of that, Barry?
I actually have that book, Paul. It's yet to be read, but I intend to read that, and I think you're right. And not only is cash a challenge at a point around $10 million, but often a small business owner has to begin to understand that they need to let go of certain aspects of their business and call in professional resources in order to help them through things, because they cannot continue to touch every single piece of their business as it grows beyond a $10 million revenue mark.
Yeah. How do you explain that? What makes it so difficult to reach that next level?
Well, I believe that it's a matter of infrastructure for the business, and infrastructure happens to grow in steps, whereas revenue may tend to grow on a curve. Infrastructure grows in steps, and if a small business owner doesn't take the steps required to put the infrastructure in place, because it's a matter of leverage. They can't continue to run the business and touch every aspect of it that they could when it was a $3 or a $5 million business. They've got to put processes and procedures and oftentimes staff or consultants in place to take care of certain aspects of the business for them. And those are the steps where they improve the infrastructure that supports their business.
Go ahead there, Paul.
Yeah, actually, my firm has encountered some of these steps. We scaled up the office. We're scaling up technology, and I can see the reticence an entrepreneur would have because you're making a bet on growth. If the growth doesn't continue, those steps can really hurt profitability. Now, Barry, I understand you recently hosted Live to Lead. Tell me about that.
Live to Lead is a half-day leadership event that we hosted here in the Woodlands. It's actually part of a simulcast event by the John Maxwell Group that was done worldwide during the month of October. And Live to Lead the Woodlands was the first year that we've hosted it here, and we had over 50 people in attendance for 4 nationally recognized speakers, and then a workshop and a local leadership presentation here in our local market. And it is something that we're looking to do, to host in the Woodlands again, and hope that it will grow in 2016. So look forward to Live to Lead the Woodlands 2016.
Yeah, very, very good. Kind of covers, kind of give us a little more detail on that and the history on that.
The history that I partnered with Paula McDonald, who is a certified Maxwell coach, which gave us the opportunity to be part of the John Maxwell program and bring in this leadership event to the local community. I've got a real passion for leadership. I do some speaking on leadership and have written some on leadership, and I just think that it's really important to try to develop new leaders, especially in our young business, out of our young business members and young business staff. And I have a passion for trying to share good concepts for solid leadership. And the Maxwell program does that and brings this year's program had Patrick Lencioni, who is a recognized national author, had an interview with the COO of Microsoft, and obviously John Maxwell himself was a part of that program. So those kinds, to be able to bring those levels of speakers to our local community and to our local leaders is really a neat opportunity that we're happy to be part of.
Very good. Got to wrap it up with that. Paul Carroll. Also, before we do that, though, what is your website before I give Paul's website?
BlantonAdvisors.com.
BlantonAdvisors.com. Make sure you check that out. And that's BLANTON advisors.com. Paul Carroll, you can find him at Efficient Wealth Management. And, gentlemen, Paul, final thoughts before I let you go.
So Barry's being a little bit modest. He actually is one of the cornerstone members of an organization called Leadership Montgomery County up here in the North Houston area, and does a phenomenal amount for the community in terms of developing the next generation of leaders. And I think Montgomery County is very grateful for those efforts.
Thank you, Paul.
It sounds like it would be. Thanks so much, gentlemen, and enjoyed having you on the program. And as always, Paul, look forward to having you back on soon.
Thank you.
All right. When we come back, much more for you. Do want to remind you, best content here shows up over there at usdailyreview.com. While there, like it on Facebook, follow on Twitter. And this is The Price of Business.
Blinded by the light, wrapped up like a douche, another runner in the night.